Welcome to Curious to Know, brought to you by Crossroads. Today, I'm joined by Ricky Colosimo. It's a pleasure to have you
Thanks, mate. Good to be here.
on. Ricky, I'm going to say met you. I
Yeah,
met you on LinkedIn. Then we started chatting up
yeah.
about, how do you start in the scene, in sports and whatnot. Just let people know who you are and how do you start your journey in boxing.
So my name's Ricky Colosimo. I'm a ex-professional fighter. Had 5 fights in professional fights, 25 amateur. From there, I was actually scheduled to fight for the number one spot in Australia a few years ago,
Yep.
5 years ago now, and I got injured. I had some pretty bad health issues, so ruled me out of fighting. And instead of that, I started doing promoting. So that's pretty much started promoting. Been doing that for 3 years, and we've got Wanderer Promotions, which is sort of skyrocketing now in the boxing scene, which is amazing.
How do you come up with the name? Like when it comes to like
Oh
Wanderer
mate, well,
Promotions.
yeah. So I used to when I was fighting, my nickname was the Wanderer, like the fight name,
Okay.
and that was
Because it
based.
reminds me of the A League, like
Yeah. The Wanderers,
yeah,
yeah.
West Sydney
So
Wanderers.
so essentially, this was from the movie The Wanderers back in the day.
Okay.
It's an old school movie, Italian movie, and they were like gangs in New York.
Yeah.
And so me and my best mate, we used to always quote it when we were younger,
Uh
and then that's how it started.
huh. Starting in the scene that you're in now,
Mm.
you do also have a history working in hospitality.
Yep.
I think it was maybe 20 years
Yeah.
working in the hospitality scene. Since now you're switching over into promotions,
Mm.
would you say the experience that you were building up, like in the hospitality scene, like on the business side, has like helped you, with the promotion that you've started?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Like I think, so I'm still doing the hospitality. So
Yep.
I'm pretty much doing 2 full-time gigs at the moment.
Yep.
And the hospitality has helped massively with the boxing. So essentially, like just in terms of, because my thing was running big events. Like we've had events at our venues like Snoop Dogg,
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah,
I saw
Wiz
that.
Khalifa and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so when you build up hype around a show, you learn the little intricate details of what you need to do in terms of a lead in,
Yep.
run in time, or the organization. So there's so many different things that you don't even factor in if you don't know. And so the experience working in the hospitality game has really helped me sort of transfer to the boxing.
Yep.
And we're doing a little bit different because it's more about entertainment and it's more about getting people to want to come back and watch again. So,
Yep.
which is huge. So that's definitely been helpful for sure.
You were saying that you've had 25 amateur fights and five professional
Mm.
fights. How old were you when you had your first fight?
Mate, I had my first fight. So I started training when I was 13.
Yeah.
I have 5 older brothers, so they used to beat me up a fair bit when I was
Yeah.
younger. And so from there, I just started training, doing hitting the pads, sort of defense. And then when I was 17, I had my first amateur fight.
Where were you training out of which club?
So I had my first amateur fight. I was training at Sydney Uni, and I was training with Justin Rousell and Johnny Lewis.
Okay.
So Johnny Lewis is one of the most famous boxing coaches in Australian history.
Yeah.
So I have a family friend. It was the Nabels. They took me down
Yeah.
to see Johnny, and then so we did a bit of pad work,
Mm.
and he obviously saw something in me, and then so we started training down there, and I had I think maybe 10 fights under those guys, and
Mm.
it was amazing. Like I was training in the gym with. There was world champions. There was Gary Sinclair. There was Paul Briggs, who was number one in the world. And then it was me coming up, which was amazing.
Most people that jump into combat sports, whether it's the UFC,
Yeah,
boxing, rugby, whatever it is, most of the time you always hear like they had something to prove.
yeah,
Like maybe they were bullied, maybe they just wanted to prove something. They were always competitive. What
yeah.
was it that drew you into the sport, so to say?
I just love the
Competition. Or,
competition of competing with myself.
yeah.
Because I truly believe that boxing is like it's the biggest form of self mastery because you have so many fears that come over you, and you got to perform at the highest level with the highest pressure.
Yeah.
When you're in a fight, and especially if you're in a hard fight, it's like you get questions asked of yourself that you don't even. It's crazy. So you got to learn to trust yourself fully. And so for me, it was more the thing of like, okay, there's no, you can't rely on anyone else. It's 100% on you. And then whatever you do in the dark is going to come to the light. So
Was that something that your parents like instilled in you, or
it
was
was
it just more?
just something natural for me that just sort of like I took that sort of mindset. And so I used to love when I used to always try to get first the best guys in sparring and
Yeah.
whatever. And so I would raise to their level. So I would never like because for me, I always used to think I don't have any quit in me,
Yeah.
and say if I go in and put myself at higher level guys, then I'm going to learn to it's either sink or swim. I'm going to learn to swim, you know.
If you hadn't gone down the boxing route, where do you think like you would have ended up? Like if you didn't go down, because you know you always hear stories of, if I didn't do boxing, then I would have maybe ended up here, maybe into like a dark hole or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
That like you hear stories like what Billy did, like he started because someone was bullying him in school.
Yeah,
Then obviously there's the competition side, like as you were saying.
of course.
But there's always something to prove yourself wrong and to prove like others wrong.
100%.
Like, you know, I'm not that person. I'm actually something bigger than what you deem me to be.
Yeah, yeah. I guess a big thing for me was almost like, because being the youngest of six boys,
Yeah.
and it's like you're not like in an Italian household, you don't have your voice doesn't matter as much.
Too
You
much
know?
testosterone in the house
Yeah,
already.
that's right. You know, so pretty much for me it was more of a thing like was showing myself that I could do anything that I wanted to do. And it's like because in boxing you are like 100% reliant on yourself. You know, you got a team around you and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, they're not going to go out running late at night, doing all the sacrifices, the dieting, all that sort of stuff. So when you actually get into the ring, it's all on you. And so I always say it's the biggest truth chamber because like just before those moments when you're in the change room before you're about to go out, it's like you know in yourself whether you deserve to win.
Is it as bad as they say? Because like you know, you hear, I've never. I used to do taekwondo. Like
Yeah.
What did I get up to? I think it was a green belt, blue tip.
Yeah.
That was the max I got up to.
Yeah.
We never had any like professional fights. It was more like you have the master. He tells you, you know, you do a few things. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
We jump. You do a few things, but you never actually had like proper fights unless it was grappling.
Yeah.
Is it as bad as they say when it's like, you know, you can't feel your stomach, you start, you need to go to the bathroom, you need to do
Well,
this,
put it this way. Before my
start having
first,
second thoughts. And you can't-
yeah, man, all that comes up. Like that's why I was say about the mastery. Like before my first fight when I was 17,
Yeah.
I was about to cry before I was going out. I'm like, man,
Far out.
I'm not a fighter. I don't want to
Far
do
out.
this.
Yeah.
But then I went out and killed it. But then, like, mate, like I'll never ever forget when I fought in America because I had my professional debut in America. And I was the only white guy fighting on the card, so it was like probably like
Only white guy in America.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
fighting in the American
Wow.
card. And so, but I trained my absolute ass off for that fight. So, like
Yeah.
in the change room before, like you could feel because we were all in one big change room and the other corners in the other change room. But you could feel everyone like the guy's nervous energy in that. But for me, I actually thrive off that sort of feeling because you know if you didn't cheat the process in the lead up, that you've earned it before you even step into the ring. So if you know that and you've done all the work, you didn't cheat, you went and gave 100%.
Yeah.
Then when you actually get in the ring, it's such a liberating feeling because it's like you deserve to win and you know you do. So you
Yeah.
fight so much harder.
Are all fighters nervous before they enter the, because you know there's a stigma, like you look
Yeah.
at like Khabib and the McGregor fight, that's like the most famous fight I can think on the UFC scene.
Yeah.
No one looked like they were actually nervous. Everyone's like walking in, I'm ready to crack this bloke.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Does everyone, like, on the external, it looks like, nah, you know what, I look like I crack someone.
Yeah.
But deep down, are they actually scared? Or are they just like, you know what, I just have to push through this
Yeah.
and just wait until basically the bell rings, so to say?
Oh man, if people didn't have nerves, they'd be crazy. Like so it's every fighter has nerves,
Yeah.
100%. But it's the way they deal with that. Some people use that to make them get better and fight stronger, faster, sharper. And other guys do it like they lose their energy in that.
Yeah.
So you see like good fighters, they thrive off the pressure. So that's probably what you saw with Khabib
Yeah.
in that fight.
Talking about the fighters, how many fighters do you now have under Wonder Promotions?
So now at the moment we've got I've got a big stable, like in terms of guys that are loyal to me and that.
Yeah.
But in terms of actual signed fighters, we've got 4 at the moment, but we're looking to sign another 3 currently.
Yeah.
But a big thing, I'm very strict on who we're going to sign because I don't look for guys that are just good fighters. They've got to be good people as well, and they've got to represent our brand. So essentially, like even just yesterday, I went down with Tyrell Adams. So he's a young Indigenous kid we've got,
Yep.
and so he does a lot of community work with the young Indigenous kids in his area.
Yep.
So yesterday, I went down to Penrith, and we ended up playing a game of touch and did a boxing session with all these young Indigenous kids.
Nice.
And mate, and they all looking at him like he's their champion. Like
Of course.
they're like, mate, he's like a little hero in that area, you know.
It's like when they look up to Greg Inglis back then. So
That's right,
yeah.
100%. And
Mitchell
so,
right now.
so for us, that's what we want to do for the next generation of guys. That's like in their community, they're looked at as those people that really sort of to look up to and aspire to.
Are there like boys in the scene right now where, you know, they might come from troubled communities and they see boxing as a way out? And if they are, how do you mentor them?
It's funny you say this because literally just in the last 24 hours, um, so I've got another guy on the card who's an indigenous guy, and he's the police called me up and said he's not fit to fight on the card, and I said why is that? And they said he's got a pending allegation against him, and
Was that the one that you told me over the?
yeah. And so then yesterday he went to court. He got dismissed, but so I called him up and I said, "Listen," I said, "I'm about to go in to bat for you."
Yeah.
I said, "What? Tell me exactly what happened and tell me what happened with the court." And I said, "I need to know everything and be 100% transparent with me."
Yep.
And he said, "Man," he goes, "you don't understand how much this means to me, the boxing stuff, because he goes, this is my chance to really turn my life around." He's got a little kid that was, he goes, "Man, when he found out I couldn't fight, he was crying." He goes, the boxing for a lot of these guys is such an avenue or outlet out. And if they didn't have it, they'd be in a very dark place. So I said, I called up the police and I said to him, "Look, like, he's actually, like, I'd vouch for this guy. You know, we can set some parameters around what we've got to do in terms of getting him on the card." But I said, like, the boxing is saving this guy's life. And the thing that people don't see is how much it saves so many people's lives. I even know for myself, like, in my darkest times, like, I didn't come from the hard background, but like, with the older brothers and that, like, things weren't easy, right?
Yeah.
But for me, always, when I was in strife or anything like that, boxing was always like my northern star. And so always, whenever I was down or whatever, I used to go train, and it used to give me so much energy and sort of, I used to say it used to transmute a lot of the shit in my life and put that into something positive, you know, which was amazing. And it does that for, like, that's the biggest thing that I want to show through the promotion, how much it actually saves young guys and girls' lives and sort of gives them that outlet. And even today, in the distracted world that we live in,
Yeah,
it's crazy because no one can stick to stuff. No one has a discipline, but boxing
Why do
teaches
you
you all
think,
those things.
that's another side. Why do you think that is? Because sometimes I fall guilty of that. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you might doom scroll, sometimes you might just sit there hours just doom scrolling, or maybe just sitting on Netflix. When I talk to guys like from you, I'm not trying to make you sound old, but when you talk to guys from your generation,
Yeah.
everyone was just more like, we're gonna eat dirt, we're gonna punch the bags, we're gonna go punch those bags. No, yeah. But like we're gonna go train,
Yeah.
and we're gonna go, figure shit out, so to say.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'll be going to the gym. I'll go maybe an hour and a half, maybe by myself or maybe with the boys. You get home and you start thinking, all right, maybe there's some work to do after hours, work, and then you go to sleep. But when I hear like stories from you guys, it's like there's always, shit to do, so to say. It's like there's always something that's happening. Why do you think, like, compared to the generation back then and now, like, people were more physical back then? People like more health conscious, but not as paranoid about their health, like, compared to now. Like, every person right now wants to get an IV drip to their house. Everyone now wants to do a cold plunge, even though back then that was just like a normal thing. But now it's like a full marketed thing right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think what that comes down to is, like, obviously everything's on your phone, social media and stuff like that, right? And when you see other people doing stuff, it's like, oh, that looks cool or whatever, you want to do it. And so I think, like, the younger generation, like, even for you guys and that, it's like that's what you've been accustomed to. Like, for me,
Is it our fault, but
no, it's not at all. Like, even for me, because I was just at the edge of that. Like, I caught the last tail end of that.
Yeah.
And so my brothers look at me like I would look at the next generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, social media, what the fuck are you doing that for? Like, sorry to swear, but
Nah,
that's
it's all good.
like that. That's what they look at and just go and so you look at that and go, it is very much this day and age, like the distractions and that is too much, you know.
On the promotion side, is there? This is like a general question, but is there a lot of politics, so to say, with other promotions where they're like, why is this guy trying to start right now? Is he trying to recruit our fighters or something like that? Like, are the horror stories as bad as they say compared to what you hear like overseas in America?
Yeah.
Like with those really large promotions.
Yeah.
Compared to the scene over here, it's not as large compared to as America. Are the politics as big as they are like over here as well, or no?
Oh, man, it's absolutely, like, the politics are huge. So, and it's a thing of, like, especially when you're shaking up the status quo.
100%.
People look at that and some people love it, and then some people, like, fully resent and inertia.
Thing when I saw your promotion, when I was like watching the content that's on LinkedIn and on Instagram, it's exactly what you're saying. You guys focus more on the marketing to bring people. Like, yes, the fighters, of course, everyone's there for the fighting, but there's like 50 different things happening at once, and then you're just sitting there like, what am I meant to be looking at?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's what really caught my eye out.
yeah.
Where did the marketing, like, did that come naturally with you, or was that something that was like taught to you?
Yeah, yeah.
Did that
Well, actually, when I was younger, I went to uni and I got a degree in business commerce, major in marketing.
all of us did. All of us did. Then you realize, oh, shit, theory is just jack shit.
But like for me, it's always come natural. Like even say even when you're saying about the hospitalities, because I started at a nightclub we had owned back in the day.
Yeah.
And
Where was the club?
it was called it was called the Cool Room at the Australian Brewery. So that was in Rouse Hills. Like so back in the day, we used to get 2,000 people there every Thursday night.
It wasn't like DCMs or anything.
No. But mate, like anyone that went to that venue would say like how good it was. Like we had huge nights, big DJs. We had Flow Rider, all the biggest DJs in Australia.
Sunset Brothers.
Yeah. Timmy Trumpet,
Marlo.
all that.
No, Marlo wasn't there back then.
No, he wasn't around. No. Timmy Trumpet, Sunset Brothers, and that were there.
Yeah.
And essentially for me, it was a thing of like the idea of marketing, how important that is, because if people don't know about you, they don't, like, you could be the most amazing boxer in the world, but if you've got no marketing or anything around you, people aren't even going to know you. And so I always look at some of these guys coming through the ranks now. I'm like, if these guys had the right people around them, they could actually become big stars. And so like, like even for me, through the guys that we've signed or whatever, it's like we're nurturing them on that process. And even we did a shoot the other day, and a big thing that I'm saying, because I'm getting some sponsors for these guys doing all this sort of stuff, I said, but it has to be reciprocated. So you have to give fair value exchange for your sponsors and make them want to come on board and stay with you on the journey, because that's a big thing. Because like a big thing that I've seen in a problem in Australian boxing is a lot of these guys don't get a lot of money for their purses and that, and it's like it is what it is. Because
why is that the reason though?
Well, even for me, because I've been on both sides, so I've fought. And I felt that, and then now with the promotion, like there's not a lot of money in it. Like you would go behind, you'd lose money every show if you paid too much money to the fighters.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Keep the lights on, of course.
That's right. Like because people don't see, like even for production, for everything that you're paying, all the ring hire officials, all that sort of stuff, it all adds up in a massive way, right? And so essentially, I'm just saying to these guys now, it's like if we get a sponsor on board, you got to make sure that sponsor feels appreciated and will want to stay on the journey with you. So we make sure through the guys that we get the sponsors for that they have a minimum amount of requirements that they're going to meet for the sponsor to make sure that they're happy. And it's even things about going into their work, doing meet and greets with people, getting photos, doing a session with them, doing whatever like that. And that goes a long way, because those little extras like that, that's the stuff that people say, okay, that's a bit different. We like that. Like they can see that they're doing the right thing and they want to be on board with it. So that's sort of the mentality we're taking, and sort of that's where we're going with the marketing with a lot of it, you know.
If you're a fighter and you've never, like, you know, on Instagram, maybe you might have 20, 40 followers, maybe that's your family and a bit of mates. You don't really have any reels, you know, you don't have anything. How would you start marketing them? Would you start touching based on like what their personal story is, you know, on the personal branding side, or you just, you know, take a few photos of them, show them like on pad work and whatnot, and then, you know, let people make their own decision? How would you market them?
Every fighter is different. So every fighter has a story, and the key thing what gets people engaged is the story behind the fighter. So for example, like even with Tyrell, so he's a popular kid. Like he gets some of his videos are getting like 250 to 300,000 views and stuff like that, you know. But he's got that X factor about him, and the thing is like he's got a story behind him as well. And so like even yesterday when we went down to Penrith, so I had a content guy there filming him the way he's interacting with the kids, because he's like their little leader. And so like the way he's interacting with the kids and stuff like that. So it's really building that so it's relatable, because people, the Australian public, look at fighters and think they're thugs. They think they're like that. It's not like a lot of people think it's a cool sport or whatever it is.
Someone's coming off the street, just
That's
trying
right.
to show off, maybe just get cars, girls.
Yeah. But what they don't see is the other side of it. Like, and it's like to me, that's what's attracting about the sport, and it's about that thing about the biggest, like, it's self mastery, and it's like if you reach and you keep going to the new levels, it's like it's not even about other people or whatever. And so that's one thing that we really want to show through the promotion is that for these young guys, you know.
like on the leadership sense, on the leadership side that you were talking about, how how do you show like the fighters that you're bringing on that this is how you're meant to be acting for your own community? Because sometimes, uh, you know what, we use a movie reference. If you watch Creed, it's the most basic one.
Yep.
What was the last one with him and his mate, where
I
they used to
didn't.
do some crime on the street.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was his name? Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
You'd say like that story. How would you like instill in them like, look, the life on the street is, if they are, the life on the street is like, it's not what it's meant out to be. You're not meant to be on that route.
Yeah.
And you're meant to be bringing them into like civil leadership, so to say, street leadership. How do you bring them on into that scene if they are troubled?
I speak to them direct, like, and I just speak to them openly, and then
Yeah.
say to them like, look, hang around us and have a look at how we do things and stuff, and then they see the way you are with people, and then it's like, okay, then they start to pick up little things. Like, people are smart. Like, if they want to be in tune with it, they will. And so a thing for me is like, with these guys is like, you can show them the different lifestyles that they would have. It's one, if they pick that other path, it's not going to be good for them. And then one, if they go down this path, and show them the opportunity that if they actually choose to commit to it, there's a big opportunity there. And with the marketing, that's a key thing, because if they see they can become that person, and they see other people that can become that person, they're going to strive to actually do that,
If you have like fighters right now, they're coming. Some of them might be a bit insecure, like in the sense where they want to go ratchet online. Sometimes seeing on TikTok, people want to start beefs when it's actually fake. They're both speaking to each other to actually start a problem.
Yeah.
Do you tell the fighters, like, for example, let's say if there's a fight coming up tomorrow, it's like, if you were to do that, then maybe there might be, you might have to get disciplined, so to say. Like, you can't be doing that. Like, you've been in the industry for a long time. Have you seen people where they start paying? This is on the political side.
Yeah.
Where they start paying each other to start fake beefs online just to draw the attention and the tickets for people to start coming.
I have, like, for me,
Yeah.
I've heard of things where promotions push for the fake beef, and say talk it up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Say even now for this show coming up, there was real beef, when it's like they're going back and forth on
Online.
socials, and then that obviously copped a fair bit of heat, and so then I think the police made a few phone calls, and then so I just said to them, listen, like, gotta leave it all in the ring. Don't be, because we want to make sure that the fight goes ahead, So
Because you watch some things that's happening online now, and then some people, I'm not going to mention names, but certain people take things before a fight because they realize they're not going to get tested before the fight, so to say an hour before,
yeah,
and then the performance starts being amazing. Like, are the regulations, like right now, are they getting more tight on fighters, to make sure no one's taking enhancers, so to say, before a fight, and you start realizing it's like, where the hell does all this energy come from?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you start realizing, like, this guy put on weight. Like, how did he put on? You know what I mean?
100%. There's, to be 100% honest, there's no real
Like, how do you
there's
test it and stop it?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's no real proper protocols in Australia that are followed now at the moment. Like, say for example, if they get to a world level, then there's random spot testing and that. There's a lot of urine testing, stuff like that. So at that world level with the world titles and that. But in Australia, there's I haven't heard too many people getting tested before. And even before, when I was fighting, like, if there was a guy I was supposed to fight, I'm like, I had the feeling 100% he was on something,
Yeah.
and so you look at that and go, mate, like, it's a competitive advantage, and somewhat cheating, so
100%. If someone's taking tests, like, just before,
that's
obviously
right.
it takes a bit of time for it
Yeah,
to kick
yeah.
in, but they start getting, why is this guy aggro all of a sudden? Why
A
is he punching
100%.
harder?
Yeah, oh, mate, like, I swear, with my last fight, and then but my mentality was like, still gonna beat him even if he is on test. You know what I mean? That was my mentality.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can take you can cheat as well, but I'm still gonna beat you.
What's the impact that you want to have on boxing, let's say 20, 30, 40 years down the line from now? Because you guys are making a lot of noise in the scene right now. So what's the impact that you're looking to have right now, not only in Australia, because I can see you guys pushing into America as well.
Yeah.
What's the impact that you're looking to have right now?
For me, bigger picture stuff, we're looking at blowing the whole sport up in a big way.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like making boxing a mainstream sport in Australia.
What's the biggest drive for you right now?
The biggest drive for me because like I feel like this I'm walking a path now that I'm supposed to be walking,
Mm.
but when I was fighting, I never fully committed to fighting.
Mm.
Like when I was training for a fight, I was
Yeah.
100% all in. Like and no one trained harder. I felt, but like I didn't fully commit to saying this is going to be my life. And so I always have regrets about that,
Mm.
you know. And I always have a thing of like should have done it, could have made some proper big noise when I was fighting and stuff like that. But then, so I felt like when I got sick, because I had diverticulitis and a real bad stomach parasite. So I was wiped out for a couple of years. It really screwed my health. But then from there, like when I started doing the promotion, my first ever promotion was an amateur show at the Hudson Hotel in Seven Hills. And the atmosphere in the room, like there's probably about 500 people there, but the atmosphere was just electric. And I was like, man, this is not normal for a normal show.
Yeah.
And then so I'm looking around the room and I had this feeling. I'm like, it was literally at that moment I thought, if I go all in with this and do this properly, we're going to change the whole sport in Australia. And so for me, like that path and the step by step process and the stuff that's happening, like
Yep.
even Monique, my sidekick for the promotion, like we talk about it and like, man, this is like a dream. It's crazy because we're building this thing as we're doing it, but like the stuff that's happening, the stuff that's falling into place, the people that we're dealing with, talking to and stuff like that, and it's all like, and they're coming up respecting us, you know, like it's not a thing of like people that we used to look up to and stuff like that, and then they're coming up and shaking our hands like and saying love your work, all
It's
this
like
sort of
when I
stuff.
saw your post with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
I was like, especially for someone like me that loves rap.
yeah, yeah,
I'm guessing yourself as well.
yeah, yeah,
Seeing like one of the greats like attend one of your shows or something like that,
yeah,
it's a big thing.
crazy.
It's a very big thing.
Well, even for me now, and I'm just like, I still feel like a kid. Like I still feel like a kid coming up. Like I'm a man now,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
that thing of being an underdog and doing that sort of stuff, and I'm like, oh man, like
It's the creativity as well.
we're gonna have a crack, you know, and it's like, and then we're gonna make some proper noise. So I can't wait because we've only been in the market a short time, but like if we establish ourselves a little bit more, it's gonna be crazy.
How important do you think for a fighter faith is, whether they're religious or not?
Yeah,
How important do you think it is for them?
mate, it's 100% like that's the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, even this process that like I've become so much more like I've always had strong faith in that, but like even through this process now, like because I've dealt with a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, especially that like even like personally and then inside the business stuff as well, and people are trying to knock us off our path and come up like it could be scary, it could be intimidating, it could be all that sort of stuff, and I'm like that my faith is the thing that keeps me grounded and solid, and it's like man, like I feel like I'm on my path from what God destined for me to do.
Yeah.
And so when you have that faith, it's like you don't care who's coming up against you because they're not going to win, you know.
Are there times where like you might start thinking, does he really care for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he actually watching over me, or is it just, is this maybe just a season of suffering before, there's ease?
Mm.
Were there ever times like that when you were fighting, and even now, because now you're on the business side,
Yeah, yeah.
you're trying to grow, something. Have you ever felt your faith was maybe kicked a bit, and you started thinking, it's like, can I do this anymore? Should I be doing this anymore? Should I just quit?
Yeah.
And if you do, how do you keep pushing on that, relying on faith?
Yeah, like mate, like even this last year for me personally, because it's just over a year ago, I just lost my mum, and then
Rest in peace.
separated. Then say like that, like I was dealing with all this stuff, and this was just before a big show, and I'm just going, mate, like this is the test for me where the universe and God's testing me and saying like, okay, you said you wanted to do this, like this is the path that you've chosen, and it's like these are the little challenges that are going to come up along the way. How much do you really want to do it? Are you gonna fold and be that person that says you're gonna do something then don't do it,
Yep.
or you're gonna stay true to your word no matter what and go through that? And I'm a big believer that if you do the right thing, you have the right intentions, and it just emanates from you that it's like people can see that and they can see it's like this guy's on a mission, like get out of his way, pretty much, you know.
If you don't mind me asking, how did your mum pass away?
So literally she got a phone call, and so she within 3 weeks she couldn't keep down food, and then and so when it got tested, and they said you got 3 weeks to live from that, and so literally they just fuck, it was crazy. Turnaround time and that for that was and mate, that was like, that came out of nowhere. So it was like, fuck, that's, you just realize how short life is, you know. But like for after that moment, and because I was still in full prep mode, because with the show, it's like you gotta, it's so much work, and we don't have a massive team, right? Like there's a team of probably about 5 of us, but like I do a lot of the groundwork myself, and so I was working till super late, and I just had this energy that I couldn't believe, because it was like a different fuel source, and for me that was the thing of like, fuck, this is like, this is raw, but it's like, this is, if you're gonna do something, this is it, you know. It's crazy.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to your mum.
Thank you,
bro.
bro. Thank you. But like people look and say, "Oh, this," like they would look on the outside and go, "Got it easy, this, that, whatever." And I'm like, "Look,
They haven't seen anything.
mate. Like, if I actually shared my full story, the people would be like, fuck it." Like, even my best mate, he goes, "Bro, I don't know how you're building what you're building with all that stuff going on in the background, man." He goes, "I've got big respect for what you're doing, because, like, there's not many people that I know that could do that."
Would you say losing your mum has to be the largest loss in your life?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, like, because for me, I hadn't lost anyone super close to me,
Okay.
and then so that was like,
You were her favorite.
I was, yeah. I think, mate,
yeah.
if my brother's listening,
Yeah.
this guy, but yeah. No, the way I always used to make her laugh, and she used to love that, because I lived life on my own terms, you know. So she always had a big respect for that, because that's the way she was as well.
Anyone would respect a hustler. Anyone would, so to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like she's like, because I could have done the same thing as all my brothers and that, but she's like, good on you.
What do your brothers do?
So we're all into hospitality. So the
Okay,
hospitality is like the family business, you know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we all grown up for that.
No, that's a beautiful story.
Mm.
Where do you see Wonder Promotion going next 10 years?
I think in the next 3 years we're gonna,
3 years?
yeah, I reckon we're gonna blow up to be a global brand.
Yeah.
We've got some things in the pipeline now, so different opportunities that are gonna like make the brand grow explosively.
Do you want to announce any fights to people that are coming up next month?
Well, we've got an
confirmed?
amazing show. So my next show is going to be July 18th at the Star. So the last one we did, we had it was a sellout. We had 26,000 page visits on the day, 13,000 people tune into the broadcast. So it's growing, like, and for me, we're just another step in the right direction. So we're just going to keep putting on amazing fights, and for the fans to enjoy. And the biggest thing for me, which has happened in the past, like, Australian boxing, like a lot of the things in Australian boxing is because, like, the decline of it is because a lot of the fighters didn't fight each other. Like the best guys sort of avoided each other, and it didn't. They would take easy fights with international opponents, and then they would get to a certain level, and then they go international with a hard fight, and then they get beat. You know, that's sort of been a bit of a pattern. And so for me, it's like putting on the best fights possible in the domestic scene, and then you get the interest from the Australian public because they're legitimate fights, and then these guys are all going to raise their level because they've all been fighting proper fights, and they step up each time. So then when they actually reach that world level, they're going to be ready for it. So that's a big thing that we're doing. It's not a short-term little thing. It's this, like, I'm investing in it. Like, we hosted the amateur.
It's your life.
100%. We hosted the amateur state titles last year. We had 400 fights in the weekend there, like, for the amateur fights, you know. And so a big thing for me is, like, we got to grow from the grassroots, and pretty much from the grassroots all the way to the mountaintops of the world titles, pretty much.
100%. What do you hope people remember about Ricky Colosimo? That's a big question.
Mate, you know what? I would hope that people look at me and go, man, this guy, it's a life well lived, and a guy that actually was a trailblazer. So, you know, like, didn't matter what it was, went up against it, and actually, like, had a crack even with the giants, you know. And so, like, I'm a big believer that, like, if you, like, for me, I've always looked at myself as the underdog. Always. Like, even when I was fighting, always had that mindset of you're the underdog, so you got to train harder. And it's like, to me, that's a beautiful thing, because if we can get to where we're going to get to and do it with that underdog mentality, like, there's so many people that can look at that story and say, that's more relatable. Because, like, even every people in everyday life, right, like, a lot of people want to do stuff and they think but something stops them. and something like something that there's a block with inside themselves that they don't take that leap to actually even it's beautiful now you're doing the podcast.
No, thank you, bro.
You know, like
Thank you,
but like to me that's something because you overcome something that was
because I spoke to you when, what was this, January?
yeah a long
December or
time ago,
something like
yeah.
that, yeah. And we just pushed through.
But like it's amazing because I love seeing that, and like
Yeah.
even for me because I had those blocks as well. I had the block when I was fighting, but I let that block stop me when I was fighting. And the thing that was I didn't put myself out there when I was fighting as much because I was afraid of it was like ego a little bit,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to put all the spotlight on me. I didn't care for that. You know what I mean? But now this is like, well, this is my mission.
Yep.
This is bigger than me. This is for the fighters. It's not about myself. So I've removed that block, and so now it's beautiful because it's like, fuck, I had to do a lot of work, inner work in myself to actually remove it, but
Yep.
now it's done, and like now the stuff's starting to fall into place, which is amazing.
No, that's beautiful to hear. It's amazing been having you on, man. Where can the people find you right now on socials?
If they just look up Wanderer Promotions on socials, that's our social handle, or you can follow me personally, Ricky Colosimo on Instagram.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to do some big things in the next couple of years in the boxing space, and then that's going to roll over to other parts of business and life as well. So I'm excited.
All right, beautiful to hear, bro.
Thank
you
you.
so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on, bro.
Good.